Virtual reality in motion. Is it a match made in heaven? Let's take a look. So in my time visiting CXC Simulations, I was able to get some solid hands-on time with the Oculus Rift virtual reality headset, and I just wanted to share some more expanded thoughts on how well it works, including with a motion setup. In this case, I'm using the CXC Simulations Motion Pro 2 simulator, which features a 2 degrees of freedom motion system with 2 actuators in the back, also seatbelt tensioners. So with this, I will say the motion really does accentuate the VR. In my earlier video on virtual reality, I talked about how VR headsets give you the full visual immersion, but you are lacking in the physics of it. You're lacking in the forces being enacted on your body. So your brain is tricked into thinking you're moving, your body is sitting still, so that can lead to things such as motion sickness or disorientation. Now, with a motion setup, you are able to get a far more believable element of driving the car. You are able to have this degree of separation reduced, and you are able to feel more authentic in driving the car. I will say though, it's not exactly perfect. You have the issue of the motion not being a true representation of driving the car. You have the 2 actuators in the back, but the issue is the way the G-forces are replicated are not the same way as in a real car. I found this extremely evident in faster cars, such as Formula 1 cars, open wheel ones, where there isn't much suspension travel in the real car. However, when you are driving in a motion rig, it feels like there's a lot of suspension travel, and that's because there is. The struts in the back, the actuators, they really have to compress and expand to get the similar feeling of the centripetal forces in driving a real car. So what does that mean? It ultimately comes down to having a feeling that is very similar to driving a car with a lot of body roll. So you're almost feeling like you're driving a van at very high speeds. So you have that lean, you're leaning over a lot when the car is moving, and that causes the problems. Granted, it is a lot better than sitting still because you're actually feeling the forces, but you have that element where you are feeling a lot more leaning force than pushing force. Because when you are driving a fast car, when you are going through turns at a fast speed, you're supposed to feel the car's G-forces pushing laterally, pushing you to the side. However, when you're in a motion rig, it comes down at a downward diagonal angle. So there is still a degree of separation, and ultimately there isn't really going to be a fix in that in my mind in the foreseeable future, if ever. But with the motion set up the way it still is very effective. It still gets the job done, albeit there is also the slight delays. Where you're driving a real car, the effects you feel are instantaneous. But with a motion rig, you still have to feel the actuators transfer over. You have to feel that swing of momentum, swing of power, and then you are able to really get that effect. However, it does take a few tenths of a second, and you can really feel that in the S's at a track or something of that sort. But all things considered, virtual reality paired with motion is a definite sweet pairing. You will have the visual immersion of the virtual reality, you'll have the physical immersion of a motion setup, and ultimately that is what we're looking for. We're looking for as much immersion as possible, and we are getting that. There are a couple of gripes I do want to mention with virtual reality though. The first gripe is, I already mentioned this in my previous video, but you have no peripheral vision. So you're almost like an owl. You have to turn your head to see what you need to see. And then you have to rely on what's directly ahead of you in the majority of the time. Because when you're looking into a corner, you can't look out of the corner of your eye to be able to see outside the corner. You have to physically turn your head and be able to see through the screen. Now, I was assuming that in the future we'll see curved screens alleviate these issues, but time will tell. The second issue I had with the VR headset was that it would fog up. It would be similar to a pair of glasses where your breath would get under or moisture would get under, and that would lead to you having this issue where the lenses would fog up and it would obstruct your vision. Now, for me, it was most common in my left eye cup. The right one, I never really had any issues, but it is something worth mentioning to people. Another issue I had is that it is difficult to see buttons when you are wearing a VR headset. So I put on the VR headset. Okay, someone's tiny head was on it. But yeah, I put on the VR headset. I have no view around me. So you can learn easily where the switch is, where the buttons are on the wheel. But when you get to this dash on the side, it is almost like Braille. So you would have to feel out where you go, and that could be an issue for some people. But all in all, VR and motion, it's a good pairing. And I would highly recommend anyone who has the opportunity to check it out. So these are just some of my thoughts, and I'd like to hear yours. Do you think that VR and motion makes a good pairing? Let us know in the comments. Also, be sure to check out simracingpaddock.com and join our community. Remember to like and subscribe to this video, and that helps keep us on track. For the Sim Racing Paddock, I'm William Marsh, and you have a great rest of your day.